Hello and welcome to The Explainer. We throw the word entrepreneur around all the time, right? But what does it actually mean? Is it about starting a company, taking on insane risks, or is it something else? Let's dig in and figure out what it really means to build something new. Okay, to kick things off, check out this fascinating bit of data from a 2020 report in Brazil. So, during the pandemic, the overall number of new entrepreneurs actually dropped by 20%. But, and here's the wild part, at the very same time, the number of people starting businesses by necessity rocketed up by 50%. Wait, what? How can both of those things possibly be true? This little paradox kind of forces our hand, doesn't it? It makes us ask the big question. Is an entrepreneur just anyone who decides to start a business? Or is there something deeper going on here? Something tied to innovation, risk, and, well, opportunity? That's exactly what we're going to unpack. All right, so first things first, we need to get on the same page and really unpack the core idea of what an entrepreneur is. A really solid modern definition describes entrepreneurship as a process. It's all about creating something new, something that actually has value. And, this is the part people often forget, it means you're assuming all the risks that come with it. And we're not just talking financial. We mean the psychological and social pressures, too. And this isn't some newfangled concept either. The word itself goes way, way back. It comes from the Latin word emprendere, which basically translates to decide to realize a difficult and laborious task. I mean, the idea of tackling something huge and hard is baked right into the word's DNA. But, the way we think about that challenge has changed a ton over the years. The whole idea of the entrepreneur has been constantly evolving. Early on, think of guys like Marco Polo. The entrepreneur was really just an active risk-taker, an adventurer. Then you fast forward to the 18th century. And economists like Richard Cantillon started to see them as speculators. Someone who buys something at a price they know, hoping to sell it later at a price they don't know. They bear the risk. But the really big shift, that came in the 20th century. This is where the whole story pivots. An economist named Joseph Schumpeter comes along with this killer concept called creative destruction. He argued that an entrepreneur's true purpose isn't just to play the game better than everyone else, it's to flip the whole board over. They don't just participate in the economy, they are a force of nature that completely reshapes it with new ideas and new products. And this idea brings us right back to that confusing chart from the beginning. See, not all entrepreneurs are setting out to be revolutionary world changers. It turns out there are two very different roads people take to start their own thing. On one hand, you have people who become entrepreneurs by necessity. This happens when someone starts a business simply because they don't have another good way to make a living. Then, on the other hand, you have entrepreneurship by opportunity. This is when someone spots a genuine gap in the market, a new idea, and they actively choose to chase it. And why does this split matter so much? Well, the reason you start has a huge impact on your chances of success. As Ennio Pinto from Babson College puts it, those necessity-driven businesses, they have a really high failure rate. But when a business is born from spotting a real market niche, the results tend to be a whole lot more positive. I mean, for a perfect real-world example of opportunity in action, look at the story of Gerdau. During World War II, it was a nail factory in Brazil that suddenly couldn't get steel. End of story, right? Nope. They saw the problem as a massive opportunity. They pivoted and started making their own steel, and that one move transformed them into a multinational giant. So, whether you're starting out of necessity or you've spotted the next big thing, how do you actually up your chances of success? Well, that's where the blueprint comes in. What is it? What's the thing that really separates a cool idea that just fizzles out from a viable business that actually takes root and grows? It really boils down to having a business plan. And no, this isn't just about paperwork. Think of it as your roadmap. It's the process of forcing yourself to think through the opportunity, the risks, the operations, and the money side of things before you dive in headfirst. And it doesn't need to be this huge, scary thing. You just break it down. First, you analyze the market. Who are your customers? Who's your competition? Then you figure out your marketing plan. How will you reach those customers? Your operational plan, how will you actually do the work? The financial plan,
Is this even viable? And finally, you play the what-if game. What if things go great? What if they go horribly wrong? It's your strategic guide to navigate the uncertainty.
But what if I told you this whole conversation isn't just for founders? We've got to stretch our definition one last time, because this is where the idea gets really powerful for pretty much everybody. What if you have that innovative spirit, that problem-solving drive, but you just don't want to take on all the personal risk of starting a company? Well, you can still put that energy to work. It's a concept called entrepreneurship. Basically, acting like an entrepreneur, but inside an existing organization.
The differences are pretty fascinating. An entrepreneur wants total freedom and is motivated by that goal, but they also shoulder all the personal risk. An intrapreneur, on the other hand, also wants freedom, but with the resources and safety net of a bigger company. Their personal risk is way lower, but their focus has to be both internal, selling their ideas up the chain, and external, serving the customer.
And all of this leads us to the most important takeaway of all. Entrepreneurship isn't really a job title, it's a mindset. It's a commitment to seeing problems as opportunities, to innovating, to taking smart risks, and building value. Whether you're working out of a garage or a corner office, you don't need to own the company to change it. So the real question is, what will you build?